I want to ask people here honestly. Raise your hand if you want to answer. Like, how many milligrams of MDMA do you take when you roll? Anyone want to answer that? Does anyone know? Raise your hand if you know how much you take. Okay, come on, one of you, tell me how much you take. Don't be embarrassed. 110? 150, 125? 150? Anyone else? Anyone take more than that? Sometimes 200? Yeah, my advice has for a long time been don't take more than 125. But I can see how that's a little unreasonable. Like, you don't want to tell people, if, like, I'm assuming people know because they've used it what works for them. And there is a range that people take that they learn from their own experience. If they know that they're getting pure MDMA and they've done it a lot, they know what is right for them. What I will continue to say is if you're a newbie, stay below 125. And in fact, there might be this issue around liver functioning and the CYP2D6 liver enzyme that can greatly impact the effect you're going to receive. Most of us genetically are considered normal metabolizers for the CYP2D6 liver enzyme. But there's about 6% of the population that are slow metabolizers, and those people likely experience a greatly enhanced effect because the MDMA isn't processed out of their bloodstream as quickly. There are people who I've talked to who can take 30 milligrams and they're really rolling like a strong dose. And it's like, what's going on there? You can look up CYP2D6 on Wikipedia. You can read all about it. Lots of medications are processed that way. Interestingly, codeine, other opiates are processed through CYP2D6. Prozac is, but yet they don't do a genetic test for people before they decide what dose to give them. And I think that's just because of the expense of genetic testing. And we are now moving towards a time, maybe within 5 years, where your genetic profile will be something your doctor has, and the medications that you're prescribed, and many medications, again, remember, are processed like MDMA through the CYP2D6 enzyme. They're going to give you a different dose of this medication depending on your profile. Slow metabolizers will experience a greater effect. Fast metabolizers are people, and I've met some of them. I've talked to them. One of them approached me after my UC Berkeley talk, and he said, I can't feel MDMA unless I take 250 milligrams. And I was skeptical. I'd never heard of that before. I've since talked to a couple other people also and talked to them enough to know that they know what they're talking about, that they're not taking an SSRI, which prevents the effects of MDMA, and they knew what they were taking. Their friends all took exactly the same amount, and they didn't experience an effect. These folks could be fast metabolizers, and that could be why. I'm also just coming to learn that there may very well be other peculiarities about individuals besides liver functioning that can cause someone to have a stronger reaction or even an adverse reaction to MDMA. So again, newbies should be really, really careful. And I stick by stay below 125. Maybe even if you're really risk averse and you really want to try MDMA, well, just try 30 first and see what happens, and don't plan to do any more. Very unlikely we can convince large segments of the population to do that under the current prohibition regime, but nonetheless, I'm trying to give the best advice to people, really, that I can.